Hello, ladies. To all of my exhibitors out there, hello. Thank you. I'm so proud of you. We're creating good energy together. I know it's not easy. We're all investing in ourselves. We're taking a chance on ourselves. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of myself. Just keep doing it. Be persistent. So I just wanted to acknowledge everyone out there, and we're creating really, really good energy, and I really appreciate being here. I have an idea. I'll tell you a little. I have an idea about what I want to talk about, but just a little idea. So I am Shawnta Jackson, and my purpose in life is to help people to help themselves and others. And before coming here, the one thing that I said I was going to do is serve. And of course I'm an exhibitor, and I have my book, but at the end of the day, like I said, my purpose in life is to help people to help themselves and others. And in everything that I do, I exhibit that in my personal life, in my business, everything. I am 100% self-employed. I've been 100% self-employed since 2017, and my clients are not individuals. They're actually nonprofit organizations, public health departments. And I'm originally from Las Vegas, and I've lived in Chicago, and I lived in Maryland. I have a background in public relations and in public health, and I am a woman with lived experiences, and so are you. I am resilient, and you are resilient. And normally I would journal, and I would throw my journals away out of shame, embarrassment, and guilt, because I never wanted anyone to see what I wrote, especially my son. I always thought, what if I die, and then people are going to my, through my things, and this is not things that I want people to know about me. So I would throw my journals away until one day I was reading a journal entry to a friend, and this friend told me not to throw my journals entries away because it could help someone. And from there, I decided to keep it, and so I threw my journals away until 2019. I decided to keep that journal, and then I had this aha epiphany moment. As I mentioned, I am an entrepreneur, and I'm looking for different ways and different opportunities to use my skill set and to give my gifts to people. And so I decided that I was going to write a book. And so my book is a journal of a woman with lived experiences, and I literally share 21 of my personal journal entries. Again, not designed or not written for an audience. And my first journal entry that I share is one of my stories of resilience. And I tell this story because this was my turning point from young womanhood to fast forward to the woman I am today. And as I mentioned, we all have different experiences. And so that first journal entry, what I did is I read my journal entries, and I assigned a theme to them. And I said, that's the power of storytelling. Owning your own story. And so this story, I started off and I shared about the third and fourth time that I left my husband at the time, now ex-husband, and it's a story of resilience. I was 19 years old in college, and I had a boyfriend, and my boyfriend had 5 kids, and I married him when I was 21. And that he was the nicest person to me. He treated me, to this day, I'm single, I date, so I have boyfriends now. They treat me good, but he treated me really well. But at the same time, this was the only person, I was being treated really well, but I was also being treated really bad. Never in my life, to this day, have I met anyone that ever treated me like that or talked to me like that. And so it was an unhealthy relationship, abusive at some times, and as we all know, abuse can be verbal. It could be emotional. There's such thing as financial abuse, and then there's also physical abuse as well, right? People can control you or intimidate you, and it doesn't always have to be physical. And of course, we don't fall in love with someone who's hurting us. We fall in love with someone that treats us really well, right? And so I'm kind of skipping around in my head, but when I walked out, the song that I walked out to is it's a song that I listened to when I was a little girl, and I did not understand the words to that song. I sang that song on stage in kindergarten, screaming my lungs out, and now as an adult, I listen to the words and I said, oh my gosh, I said that. Like, oh my gosh. So I say that to say, little girls are impressionable. Little girls are precious. So if I were to conceive today, the fetus that will eventually grow into a baby, all of the eggs, did you know that when we're born with all the eggs that we'll ever have in our life when we were born? So that means our eggs formed when we were in our mother's womb, right? So women are precious, and we should treat women as such. And there's certain messages. Little girls that are growing up, they're very impressionable. You never know what you can say to someone and how that may affect them later. Luckily for me, I didn't allow the words or the treatment of someone to hold me down. When I was a little girl, I remember this woman in the front yard. It was my mom, my aunt's neighbor. She knows where she's at in life and who she is. But this woman in front of me told my aunt that I was a fast little girl and that I was going to be a teen mom. I was going to be pregnant before I was 13 years old. And I remembered that. And so kind of fast forward back to that first journal entry. When I left my ex, he told me that I was a smart, dumb bitch and I never had shit and never would, and no one would ever want to be with me, and I would never find anyone like him. The only reason that I even have anything is because of my dad. And so I remember those words as well, right? But again, I do come from a loving family, and there were, in my opinion, there were people around me that modeled positive behavior. And because my parents loved me, I really at the core, I really knew that, and I did love myself. I don't know what I was thinking, but at that moment, I kind of lost myself to be in that situation, because that's not a form of self-love, self-care. I don't know if I wasn't recognizing it, I don't know why I was in that situation, but I was in love. But I remember those words, right? But again, when I listen to, so the therapy, so for all of our artists out there, the therapy of art, music, poetry, positive words, things that people say to you, some people can discourage you, but even though I had a lot of people, well, not a lot, even though there were some people that tried to discourage me in different phases in my life, I had just as many, and they're on stage with me right now. When I was young, my dad used to say, you know what, you have angels watching over you, and I assign my angels to you. And I tell my son that. And I am standing here right now, and I am representing not only my mother and my grandmother, but my aunt and my great-grandmother, my grandmother, my ancestors. I'm representing a lot of people. So it was a lot of love and a lot of lessons. Yes. So I have that. But I think journaling, for me to be able to stand up now and to speak to you and the things that I'm talking about, it was through the process of journaling was I able to really recognize who I am and what was really inside of me, and the person that I always was. I am Shawnta Jackson. I am proud of myself. I got this. I am beautiful inside out. I am kind. I am peaceful. I treat others well. All of the resources and all the people that I need, they come to me. I don't have to worry about anything. Those are positive affirmations. So in my journal, I also express the benefit of positive affirmations. And I don't know if you all know this, positive affirmations are also known as scientific prayer. So Buddhists do not believe in a god or a deity, but Buddhists believe in positive. Even though the language that I'm using may be different, but the impact of positive affirmations. Christians, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. That's a positive affirmation. That's an affirmative prayer. That's a scientific prayer. That's an affirmative prayer. That's a form. So everything that I'm saying, those three terms are interchangeable. So I talk about that in my book, and I model that, but I also ask you to say positive affirmations about yourself. And I'll leave space for you to write about that. And so when I left my ex-husband for the third time, I was in Chicago, and I had 3 pairs of dirty clothes, $200 hidden in a Chanel sunglass case, my son, who was 11 months old at the time, and a car seat. And so that's how I went home to Las Vegas to my parents, with a baby on my hip and with $200. I had battered woman syndrome. I did not know what that was at the time. I know now. No social security card, no birth certificate for myself or my son, no jewelry, no clothing, my computer, my tax records, everything that I owned. I never went back to my home, my furniture, anything. I never went back to Chicago. But guess what? That was the 3rd time. I mentioned the 4th time. So I'm in Las Vegas. He shows up. And let me tell you how he shows up. I was asleep and I woke up and opened my eyes and he was standing over me, and I said, oh my gosh, this man's crazy. And I said, hey. That was a survival instinct. And I knew then, by what he had on, if he would have saw me. So I was at my mother's house, and I was sleeping, so I didn't come outside. But by what he had on, I knew it was all black. I knew that if I would have been outside and if he would have seen me with someone, because of course I had to be with somebody else, because there's no way I would leave him, right? Because he's a narcissist. Of course I got to be doing it somebody else. Of course it's this, of course it's that. It's not just because we're not best for each other, you're not treating me well, and I think it's time for me to move on with my life, all right? But anyway, we tried to make it work. We got a house in Las Vegas, and the night before, I slept in the bed with my shoes on because I was not allowed to leave outside. And so the last very day I was with him, I snuck out of the house. He left to go somewhere. Again, didn't pack my clothes, snuck out, and I was a loan officer at the time, so I grabbed my business cards and my laptop, because remember, I'm an entrepreneur. I grabbed my business cards and my laptop, and my son. And 2 weeks later, I was in a condo, and here I am on stage today. I moved on with the rest of my life. So I ended up, I stayed in Las Vegas. I got my master's in public health degree. I tried to find myself. I was a real estate agent. I was a loan officer. I started a failed company. I was good at starting companies. It just wasn't right. Like I said, real estate agent, loan officer. The 2008, the recession happened, and I saw the trend happening, and so I started working with my family, decided I wanted to go back to grad school, got my master's in public health, excelled in everything that I did, and then one day I stepped out on faith again, and I decided that I wanted to move to the East Coast, and I went everywhere. I did go back to Chicago, I went to Dallas, I went to Houston, I went to New York. I could not find a job. That's why I'm 100% self-employed. It's like I'm never, at the time, I'm not good enough. Like, why am I not getting this or that? And so I knew I had to be really competitive. So I went back and worked hard. But my coworkers, we did so much good that we had a budget to fly to any conference in the United States. And I asked my coworkers, I said, can we please go to Washington, D.C.? I go to DC, I'm at a summit, there's a guest speaker there. The guest speaker, he was so good that there was a line after he was speaking to talk to him, and I said, you know what, I want to talk to this man too. I wasn't looking for a job, but I wanted to talk to him because he's in public health and so am I, and he can mentor me or he can tell me what I need to know. And I started managing the line. I'm managing the line for him because I'm going to talk to him and I'm going to be the last one to talk to him. So I helped him to manage his line, and I had a little business card, and I wrote like a whole business plan on there. And finally, I said, hey, it's a Sunday. Hey, I would really like to meet with you. Oh, well, call my administrative assistant and you can schedule something. I said, no, you don't understand. I leave on Tuesday. I need to meet with you tomorrow. And He says, okay. I got a call from his administrative assistant. I'm in DC. He's at University of Maryland College Park, probably about 5 miles away, 5 to 7 miles away, even though there's traffic, it's not far. I don't have a rental car. I get a rental car, and I always had a portfolio. So all of the things, so for those of you who are in college or who are working or looking to build your portfolio for yourself, I always kept like, at this time it was Dropbox. And so all of my accomplishments and things that I did for work, I did a lot of community engagement and stakeholder engagement. So all of the events, just whatever I did, I kept a portfolio for it. And I stopped by FedEx Kinko's. I made copies, and I walked in his office with a portfolio. I'm going in for what I think is called an informational interview. And I walk into the conference room, and he's they're in a conference call. So I start working. I stayed there for 6 hours, and I said, by the time we left, I said, I would really like to work with you. He says, well, I can't promise you anything. And I jumped on him. I said, thank you, thank you, thank you. 8 months later, he called me. I kind of gave up a little bit, but 8 months he called me. I went back to Las Vegas, and he said, hey, are you still interested in the job? And that's how I moved to the Baltimore, Washington area. So I'm a resident of Maryland, and I came here for this weekend just for the LA Ultimate Women's Expo, just to be with you all. And 2 months in, I knew that was not the place for me. But I said, you know what? You moved here with your 8-year-old son, and you have no family and no support system. And so before you leave this job, Shawnta, you're going to make sure that everyone knows your name. And so what I started to do, I started to pretend like I was a consultant. And everyone that I met, it was a client. I was engaging. I'm doing my job, but I'm networking. And so I'm modeling that to you now. That's why I chose to come here to meet people in LA, to expand my network and expand my market. And I started my own business in 2015. I quietly consulted and ran my business on the side for 2 years. I had one client. I walked into my supervisor's office for a performance review in July 2017. And this man said to me, I said, well, you know, I would really love to work with you. I would love to continue to work with you. However, one day I'm going to leave, but we can still continue our work together. And I had the numbers written down. I was like, I will actually save you this amount of money, because you don't have to worry about my benefits. You don't have to worry about this, and I can just serve as a contractor to you, because I'm trying to transition, and I'm loyal to the work, and I was doing community engagement and public health issues in various communities, and so I'm loyal, and I'm to the cause and to the people. And he says, of course, I'll give you a letter of recommendation. And in my head, I'm like, okay. He says, because I've brought you this far, haven't I? And I said, within 5 seconds, not even knowing this was inside of me, and I said, and I've brought you this far, haven't I? And he says, well, and I said, well, okay, I understand. This is a mutually beneficial relationship. I walked out of there, I said, oh my gosh, I gotta get out of there. I gotta figure out, I gotta quit this job, I gotta go. I can't stay here. And that September, that was July, I put in my notice. I gave over a 45-day notice. And November 1, 2017, since then, I've been 100% self-employed. Thank you. I am an entrepreneur, I'm a successful businesswoman, but I have personal stories. There's things that I have to go through. I'm dating, I just mentioned, so just imagine being a single parent. I started my business 1 year. I've been broke twice. Well, more than twice, but this time. I had $7 in my checking account, and one time I had $9 in my checking account. I had this spot in my room. I didn't know what to do. I just got on the floor, and I started praying. And my prayer was not, God, please, please help me, help me, help me. My prayer was, thank you, thank you. I was so grateful at that moment, because I just knew everything was going to be okay. Coincidentally, that weekend, I had a paid speaking engagement in Las Vegas. It was $500. It's not a lot to a lot of people, but I just told you I had about $7 in my checking account, $9 in my checking account. And so it was an all expense trip paid to Las Vegas. So I got my meals and everything. Family's there, they don't know what's going on. They just know I'm speaking, they're just so proud of me. So I spoke, and I got that $500. And while I was there, I was in the car with my mom and my aunt, and I got a phone call. No, an email. It was an email. I had forgot that I submitted a proposal. So, consultant, woman-owned business registered, minority business. If you're a veteran, you can register. You can register with the state. You can register with the feds. You don't have to pay anyone to do it for you, but you can if you want to. But you can still do it yourself. And so I registered with the state of Maryland, and there was this proposal to plan a conference, a speaker series, 3 different locations in Maryland, 3 different speakers, and it was on engaging black men and boys to prevent sexual violence. I opened up the email, and I saw that I was awarded a $40,000 contract. Mind you, I was just broke. And I sat there, what I want you to take away is that's that faith, right? That's that, you know what? I've never got a part-time job. I live in one of the most, and you all can understand, California is a very, very expensive state. I live in one of the most expensive states in the United States as well, in Maryland, in the DC area. That's very expensive. And I have not gotten a part-time job. I didn't do it. I just stuck with it. I just stuck with it even when I didn't know. And when I had to use credit cards, of course. And I'm pretty sure some of you can relate to that. But I'm here. And like I said, what gets me through this and how I express myself and how I help myself in my form of self-therapy is I journal. And before I leave, can someone, I don't know where to look for time, can someone notify me on time? Let's see, let me do a check real quick. Okay, I see it. All right, so before I close out, I just want to randomly, can someone in the audience just pick a number and I'll read that journal entry? 5. Okay. Expecting Love, page 29. Yesterday, I said a blend of prayers, affirmations, and confirmations. I mainly focused on the fact that God is with me and that God is love. I'm love. I give love and receive love. I pray that I will be able to receive love from a man. I can accept love. The things that happened to me in my past were unfortunate, but they will not happen again. Plus, my experiences have helped make me the woman I am today, the person I am, the mother I am. I'm forgiving and I'm able to love unconditionally. I can't let my past experiences jeopardize my future. I tell myself, don't let your past stop you from experiencing love. This is my conscious feeding my subconscious, because subconsciously, I'm not sure if I really believe in or accept love or true companionship. Your 5th journal entry, Expecting Love. How do you feel about love? How important is it for you to feel intimate love? Describe how your past has positively or negatively affected your thoughts about love. Be honest with yourself. And so everyone, I am Shawnta Jackson, the author of The Journal of a Woman with Lived Experiences. I am in aisle 1200, and I welcome you to come and meet me after, and just let me know what you thought about today's discussion. If I had more time, I would open it up for a Q&A, but I'm out of time. But thank you for your time and for your attention, and I pray that I said something that either informed you or inspired you or maybe something that you can share with someone else. Thank you.